Hello and welcome to another empowering episode of Career Success, the show that provides you with essential tools and insights to navigate your professional journey and achieve your career goals. My name is Ewolabi, your host, and you're watching the Achievement Channel, Nigeria's first and only 100% motivational TV station, broadcasting live from the School of Eloquence, Ikoyi, Lagos, Nigeria. I am excited to have Victor Diali, or Victorious Victor as he's known, join us today. He's a real expert in what makes leaders effective and teams thrive. With a background in both psychology and technology, he brings a fresh perspective to career success. He has coached everyone from major corporations to individual professionals and is going to give us some powerful tools to advance our own careers. All right, Victorious Victor, welcome to Career Success.
Thank you very much for having me. It's really a pleasure being here.
Victorious Victor, just rhyme or there's a story behind it.
Well, Victorious Victor, well, first of all, my name is Victor. So growing up, I've always wondered why my parents called me Victor. But I think I began to understand when on the 22nd of November 2009, I was going to church with my family. I got attacked by armed robbers, and to cut the long story short, I was shot in the back and left to die in the pool of my own blood. Wow. I came out of that experience and I survived. You know, I found myself in the middle of an expressway begging for help. Nobody was willing to help. You might call that the Nigerian factor. But somehow, I just had this belief that I was going to live. I felt I had about 5 minutes to live, but I just kept praying and hoping. And then, interestingly, someone stopped. The most unlikely person, he was drunk, he was smelly. He stopped, but he saved my life. Took me to a hospital. There was no doctor on duty, but the nurses saved my life. Shout out to all the nurses in the house.
Wow. What victory can be greater than victory over
death? So I came out of that experience and I felt, okay, so I was victorious over death. So maybe that's why my parents called me Victor, you know? So I just gave that meaning. And since then, I became Victorious Victor.
Victorious Victor. And I'm sure perhaps as we go along in this interview, we'll find out other reasons why you are Victorious Victor.
Hopefully.
And congratulations for that victory over
Thank you.
Anyway.
Thank you. Thank you.
So a look through your trajectory reveals that you have worked on diverse roles, from managerial psychology to consulting for different teams across several sectors. Yes. How has this cross-cutting experience shaped your success story?
Well, it's quite interesting because I read computer science and engineering first degree. I went into managerial psychology for my master's, and I've worked in different organizations like you rightly pointed out. I've also worked in different regions, worked with people from diverse cultures from different parts of Africa, Europe, Middle East, and so on. So this has really helped me. It's really shaped my career. And I think that for a lot of people, this is something they need to find a way to experience. And there are two different things, right, that have to do with developing skills in success, in terms of successful career. There is breadth of skill and there is depth of skill. So the breadth of skill means that you develop understanding of different diverse things. You go into different areas, go into different cultures and so on. That gives you breadth. That helps you to be able to connect with people from different places, connect with different technologies and so on. But there is the depth of skill, where some people, for example, you find have worked in only one industry for 30 years. They start their work there, they stay there for 30, 35 years, and then they retire there. So they have this depth of skill. They know a lot about that particular industry. So I think it depends on what one has had the opportunity of experiencing. I've had the opportunity of experiencing diverse skills in different areas, and that really has shaped who I've become in terms of my career.
Breadth of skill, depth of skill.
Excellent.
Those are concepts that are very fascinating to us here on Career Success. And I would like to know, which comes before the other, or can we, are we disadvantaged having any?
Not at all. I think what is important is for someone to find what they can relate with. Okay, there's some people who enjoy the breadth of skill. For example, I enjoy breadth of skill. I like to talk about different things. I like to meet different people. I like to go to different places. There are people who love to have such an enriching experience from one spectrum, one end of the spectrum to the other. But there are some people who like to have just like to be in a very small area and just go very deep in that area. So what I have been able to do is to marry both, and that's what I would recommend to a lot of people. You can marry both. You can develop depth of skill in one or two areas and still develop the breadth that allows you to connect to many different people at the same time. So it really depends on what one relates with and what one finds more exciting.
Yeah, see, really interesting. You have helped a lot of organizations with learning development, and you are a certified soft skill trainer.
Yes.
But then, we live in a very competitive age. The 21st century is a highly competitive age.
Correct.
What are the pieces of advice or nuggets you have for professionals that want to develop this type of skill?
So for me, the first thing I would advise is to find yourself. So I work with a tool called Clarity 4D, and Clarity 4D, we talk about the 4 dimensions of personal development. The first dimension is discover. Discover what? Discover yourself. So the first thing for everyone thinking about developing their career is to ask themselves the very important question of, who am I? What am I about? What am I here for? Discover yourself. The second D, which is the second dimension, is discuss. And that talks about discussing with other people what they think about you. So a lot of people feel, okay, this is who I am. I don't care what people say or think about me. But that doesn't really help if you're trying to build a career. You're going to work with different people in teams and in different organizations. You have to think about, what do other people say or think about me? And it's not a quarrel. It's not a fight. It's a discussion. It's a conversation. Why do you see me this way? Why do you like to work with me? So you have to find out other people's perceptions about you. And then the third thing is to diversify. So the third dimension is to diversify into your hidden potential. We all have hidden potential. Some people call them weaknesses. I don't believe that people have weaknesses. I think they're potential. Because what you call a weakness could be a strength somewhere else. You might say someone is too quiet, and that's a weakness, right? If you take that quietness somewhere else, it will shock you that what they're looking for in that place is quietness. And that becomes a strength. So for us, it's not a weakness, it's potential. But it's hidden because they have not been expressed, they have not been attended to. So people have to really think about these. And then the last thing is the fourth dimension, which is to develop. Develop your full potential over time. And developing is what now takes us into building your skills. Learning all the things you need to learn, right? And continuously improving. There's something called continuous and never ending improvement, right? We continue to do that. We read the books we have to read. We watch achievement channels so we can learn a lot about career success.
True.
We read magazines, right? We go to training programs. We go to seminars. Those are the things that help us to develop into our full potential. Will we ever get to our full potential? Will we ever become our best? I say no. Why? For every second you live, you can be better. So if you say today it's my best, who says? 1 second later, you can be better than your so-called best. So until we hit the grave, we are not yet at our full potential. So we continue to develop. Go and ask the greatest athletes, ask the best coaches. Everyone strives for mastery, and you keep trying and you keep growing, and it never comes to an end.
Wow. I see. Continuous and never-ending improvement, you called it.
That's right.
Very valuable and very much in sync with our values here on Achievement Channel and the career success specifically. But your work involves coaching.
Yes.
Coaching and team effectiveness.
Yes.
So what specific strategies or secrets or tips do you have for professionals on how to navigate team dynamics and be able to attain peak performance?
So the first thing is to be humble. So I meet a lot of people who are not humble. They don't realize that they don't even know. So some people believe, okay, because I have a master's degree, because I have a PhD. I've met a lot of PhD holders who don't know much, right? They only know what they have learned in their PhD. They don't know much. So we must understand that humility is key. And that's one problem I have with a lot of our young people these days, right? So as soon as they get to know something, they feel that's all I need to know. No, that's not all you need to know. You've got to be humble so you can learn from people who have gone ahead of you, so you can learn from people who have been exposed to more than you. So we've got to be humble and learn. And in coaching, I discovered something, that people have what they need to succeed in life, in career. They have it within them. It's potential. What we do as coaches is to help them bring out that potential and connect them with their destiny. And that's what we do. We're enablers. And so people have to be open to allow coaches help them to achieve what they want to achieve. And being open means you're going to have to be vulnerable at some points to, for example, share the things that you're struggling with. And as coaches, we help them to navigate some of those milestones so they can arrive at their career destination.
Wow, I see. So even at quickest glance, your story, your career shows that you help organizations with talent development.
Yes.
But again, over time, we have discovered a problem with organizations where you have a mismatch between personal development and organizational development.
True.
So what's your advice to our viewers at home on how to marry this personal development and organizational development so that we avoid the issues we've been having around the subject?
So the thing is, every organization that is developed has values. They have their core values. They have a vision. They have a mission. You would sometimes see them on plaques on the walls. Vision statement, mission statements, and things like that, right? So if anyone is going into an organization, the first thing they need to find out is, what kind of organization am I going into? What are their values? What is their vision? What's their mission? Are they going in the same direction that I'm going in? So that's why I said earlier on that if you look at the 4 dimensions I spoke about, the first dimension is to discover. Discover yourself. Discover who you are. Discover your values. Discover your core values, your goals. So once you have done that, you then go into an organization and you have to now connect your own core values, your vision, your mission with that of the organization. Otherwise, there will be a mismatch. Sometimes you might work in an organization even though they don't quite connect with your core values, right? And what I tell people that in such situations, find a way. Inside that organization, you will find an area that you can relate with, an area you can connect with, and do your best to bring, your skills to bear on whatever you do to help the organization move forward, to help your boss move forward and look good and grow. Once you do that, you also grow.
Great. We will talk about the career missteps that professionals make,
Yes.
but we will have to go on a break. Viewers at home, you're on Career Success here on Achievement Channel. We have been talking to a consummate professional and a certified coach. When we return, we will be discussing the subject matter of missteps that professionals make on their journey up.
Eloquence focuses attention on the message and the audience.
found it very interesting, exciting, stimulating.
It was very beneficial.
Definitely would learn a lot, a whole lot.
Thank you. The delivery was second to none.
Speak with power.
Speak with power.
Speak with power.
All right, welcome back to Career Success here on Achievement Channel. If you are just joining us, we have been talking to Victorious Victor. In this segment, we'll be exploring how to avoid pitfalls that professionals make on their way up. Mr. Victor?
Thank you.
Give us some victorious steps
Yes.
on how that professionals, the pitfalls that professionals need to avoid
Yes.
to the fullness of their potential.
Okay, so for me, the most important misstep that a lot of people make when they're trying to grow in their career is, I'll give you an analogy. So just imagine someone is climbing a ladder, and we can call this the ladder of career success, right? You're climbing this ladder, you know, you're laboring, you're doing everything you have to do, you're climbing the ladder, it's taking you 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5, 10, and then you suddenly discover when you get to the top of the ladder that you've been climbing the wrong ladder. Or that you climbed the right ladder, but it was leaning against the wrong wall. So for me, that's a very big mistake that a lot of people make in their career. They don't choose very early what career they're supposed to be in. Everyone is wired for something. Everyone is wired for something. And the easiest way to succeed in career is to find out what you're wired for and to make that your career. And the reason I say that is simple. If you look at fish, fish don't struggle to swim, do they?
Not at all.
Birds don't struggle to fly, do they?
Not at all.
When you drop fish into water, fish swims. It's obvious that the fish needs to build its career inside water. When the fish decides to come onto land and tries to build a career on land, guess what happens? There's struggle, there's frustration, there's disappointment. And that's what's happening to a lot of young people. They go into the wrong career. You find someone who just wakes up, jams the person, you know, like it happened to me. You know, I was filling my jam form and my dad said, put computer science there. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know why I was going to read it. He just said, put computer science there. A lot of people have read courses that they have no business going into. A lot of people have tried to build a career in an area they are not supposed to be in. I've seen some fantastic fine artists working as bank cashiers or bank tellers. Not that there's anything wrong with being a bank teller or a bank cashier. But the thing is, this is a fine artist, someone who has a gift, a special gift, right? He's wired to draw, but he's counting money.
Notes, yeah.
He's counting notes. So it's very important for young people to find out what is my area. What am I wired for? What am I wired to do? You listen to some people's voices and you know this person is wired for TV, is wired for radio. You look at certain people and the way they stand, their structure and all of, you know that they're wired for a particular area. So what they do is, once they realize that, they begin to build a career in that area. And this is where parents also have a role to play, right? When you look at your children, you will find them having interests in different areas. But a lot of parents will beat their children and say, no, don't go there. We want to shape our children the way we want them to be. But with God, we're supposed to help them discover what they're wired for, why God made them, how God made them, in what area they're supposed to be operating. We're supposed to guide them. So young people have to learn this, regardless of what you've read in school. Think about yourself. What do I find easy to do? What do I have a special gifting for? What is special about me? What is it that I do that people say to me, wow, that's fantastic. That's amazing. You get a lot of compliments in those things. Those are the things you have to now think about and see how you can build a career out of.
Oh, great. Discover. That word again, you know, in the 4 dimensions of success, you earlier mentioned discovery featured, and now talking about discovery.
Absolutely.
All right. So there's an emergent trend. Globally. Everyone talks about artificial intelligence.
Yes.
And in my cursory view of your story, I saw that you are experienced in AI.
Yes.
Now, what advice do you have for professionals who want to stay competitive? You know, we earlier agreed that we live in a very competitive age. So how do professionals stay competitive and relevant in this age, given the advent of AI and other emerging trends?
And not only AI, there will be other emerging trends, right? So what I think is important is for people not to be scared of the technology, right? A lot of these technologies that come out to help us to be better at what we do. So you're going to find applications of AI in virtually everything we do, including filming, you know, mechanics, everything we do now, there will be some element of AI. So what I advise people to do is not to be scared of technology, is to embrace technology. Technology is your friend. Technology has come to help you be better at whatever you do. For example, if you look at people who use AI for speech writing, you might be a good speech writer, but you might go to AI to help you refine your speech. You get a refined speech and then you refine further. So I tell people that what is important when dealing with AI is that human interface, the human element. Okay, we've got the technology, yes, it's there, but what about the human interface? What are we going to do with that, with whatever we get out of AI or any other technology? How does that help us to be better human beings? How does that help us to succeed better at what we do? How does that help us to connect better with one another? It is that human element that the AI does not have, that the technology does not have. So we should stop bothering ourselves about what is it that it has. We should also think about what can't AI do for us? And that's why we are important. People think about technology and they think technology will take over humans. No. There will always be a need for human interaction. And the people who jump into technology believing that technology is all we have, they make a big mistake. And that's why you'll find that there is less emotional intelligence. You find a lot of people on their phones, everybody is clicking and pressing. We don't even say hello to the person sitting right next to us on the bus or on a train. We're losing that human connection, and that's why the society is not where it's supposed to be. We need to get back to the human connection. We need to drop our phones, drop the technology sometimes, and just connect as humans. And that's how we enrich each other and get the best.
Great. Never be afraid of technology.
Don't be afraid.
In addition to artificial intelligence, develop emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence.
All right, let's see. Interesting. So finally, victorious Victor.
Thank you.
Give us that, in hierarchy of strategies or success secrets.
Yes.
There are in hierarchies. Give us that one that makes people victorious.
So for me, in terms of that one that makes all the difference, right? That's a difficult question because people are different. The one that works for me may not work for you. Do you understand? So I think it all goes back to people discovering who they are. So the key to me, the key to success is find out what you're wired for. Find out why you exist. Why were you created? Ask questions about yourself. Spend time with yourself. Once you do that, you will discover what I call your purpose in life. When you find that purpose, you can then go and build a career in that area, or turn that purpose into a career. So some people are entrepreneurial. They will never work for anybody, right? They will discover their purpose, and then they will turn that purpose into a business, and then they become successful. Some people will discover their purpose, then they look for companies in that area. For example, I've met people who found out that they are wired to help people. So they then go and look for organizations that help people. And then they work in such organizations and build a career. I mean, I teach at some sessions. I teach some sessions at LBS, Lagos Business School. They have a sustainability center there, and there are people that I've had the opportunity of leading in some of their sessions. I found out that these are people, they love to help people. So they built businesses, social enterprises, where they're solving human problems, they're helping the world, they're helping the society, but they built a business around it. So it turns into a career, it turns into a business, and that's how they find career success. So this is very important. For me, that's the, you might call it a silver bullet. That's what I would say. Find out who you are, find out what you're wired for, and turn that into a career or into a business.
Discover your purpose and turn it into a career. Okay, viewers at home, we have had a most remarkable time talking with Victorious Victor, where we have learned the 4 dimensions of success. Until our paths cross again, keep winning. That's it for today on Career Success. We've explored essential strategies for career advancement with Victor Diali, and I hope you feel equipped to take the next steps in your professional journey. Let's continue this conversation online. Follow at Achievement Channel on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for more career tips, insights, and success stories. Use the hashtag #WeSeePossibilities and share your career goals with us. Stay inspired, stay focused, and keep seeing possibilities on the Achievement Channel.